The warning came loud and fast. Every screen on the human ship lit up in red. The words blinked in bold letters. Danger. Extreme threat. Do not approach. E-773 is loose. Lethal. Stay away. Captain Mara Keen stared at the message, her eyes wide. Even the ship's AI, Esther, paused before reading the rest. It was rare for the galaxy to send one universal message. But this time, all the alien nations had agreed. This creature, whatever it was, should be avoided. She turned to her crew. What is E-773? Her science officer, Theo Jin, looked pale. It's called a Zarnak. No one has ever caught one. Only watched from far away. It's very dangerous. It doesn't just hunt. It studies before it kills. Mara's stomach turned cold. And where is it now? Outside the mining station on Lyra 7, Theo said. Just floating. Watching. The crew went quiet. Everyone knew the stories. The Zarnak had destroyed entire ships. It moved through force fields like they were made of air. It could sense heartbeats from 50 kilometers away. No weapon had worked on it. No trap had ever held it. Esther's calm voice filled the room. The creature is now 50 kilometers from us. It is not moving, but it is watching us. On the main screen, the Zarnak appeared. The room froze. It didn't look like a monster. Didn't have sharp horns or long fangs. It wasn't drooling or roaring. In fact, it looked soft. Its body was long, shaped like a large dog with thick fur that shimmered blue and silver. Its limbs were strong and smooth. Its tail was curled neatly around its side. It had ears, big floppy ears. Its eyes were shut, but it looked peaceful, like it was sleeping. Lieutenant Jake Vesper, the youngest crew member, tilted his head. Are we sure that's the killer? That looks like a big puppy. Mara frowned. That's what the galaxy fears? The alien on board, Ambassador Vakal of the Irinth Dominion, stepped forward. His skin turned dark gray, a sign of fear in his species. Do not joke, human. That is the Zarnak. It destroyed the moons of Tresca 9 in 1 hour. It is not sleeping. It is waiting. Jake shrugged. Still looks cuddly. It learns, Vakal said, voice shaking. It waits. Then it attacks. It cannot be stopped. It hunts not for food, but for fun. Mara looked at the creature again. It hasn't moved. How long has it been there? 3 days, Theo said. Just floating. No attacks. No sound. Have we tried talking to it? Jake asked. Vakal hissed. You want to talk to death? Mara thought for a moment. She had seen war. She had seen real monsters. Machines, bombs, hunger, hate. But this thing? This creature? It didn't feel evil. She walked to the screen. The Zarnak's eyes opened slowly. They were a soft green, glowing faintly. It looked right at her and tilted its head. Jake leaned closer. Is it wagging its tail? No way, Theo whispered. That's just movement. It doesn't mean... The tail swished once. Jake grinned. I knew it. It likes us. Vakal took a step back. No, that is how it tricks you. Then it kills. Your kind, humans, you trust too fast. Mara didn't answer. Her hand hovered above the console. Esther spoke again. The Zarnak is now 20 kilometers from us. It is drifting closer. Theo gasped. It's approaching. Raise shields, Mara ordered, but the creature stopped just before the barrier. Then it sat, just like a dog would. No growl, no attack, just silence. Watching. Jake whispered. Maybe it's lonely. Vakal shook his head. You do not understand. It destroyed fleets. It learned how to disable alien engines. It mimicked voices. It hunted children. It cannot feel. It cannot bond. But Mara wasn't sure anymore. The Zarnak pressed one paw gently on the invisible field that separated them. Not in violence. In calm. Jake mimicked the gesture. He raised his hand toward the screen, and the creature didn't move away. In fact, it leaned a little closer, Esther said softly. It is matching human movement. No signs of aggression. Pulse level steady. Mara spoke, voice low. It's watching us like we're the strange ones. No one spoke for a full minute. Then, Mara stepped back and asked quietly, what if the galaxy was wrong? Vakal stared in shock. You would risk everything for a beast? Jake smiled faintly. Maybe it's not a beast. Maybe it's just been alone too long. The Zarnak blinked once more, slowly, then sat still again, waiting. The next day the Zarnak was still there. It hadn't moved from its spot. It just floated near the energy barrier, tail wrapped neatly, eyes half closed like it was resting, or thinking. Captain Mara Keen hadn't slept all night. She kept watching. The footage, the way it sat, the way it blinked, the way it didn't attack. Most of all, she remembered the moment it gently pressed its paw to the barrier, right after Jake had raised his hand. That wasn't violence. That was curiosity. Jake was the first to speak in the morning briefing. I think we should try talking to it. Ambassador Vakal slammed a clawed hand on the table. You are fools, it is pretending. It has done this before. It copies behavior, then it destroys. You are falling for a trap. Mara looked calm, but firm. And if we're not? Vakal turned toward her, his voice sharp. Do you want your ship torn apart? Do you want your crew dead? Because that is what will happen. It killed an entire council on Varnax Prime. Without sound. Without warning. It hasn't done that here, Mara said. 3 days, no harm, just watching. The crew murmured quietly among themselves. Some agreed with Jake, others were afraid. Even Theo, the science officer, looked torn, but Jake stood tall. I'll suit up. Full armor. Enter the observation chamber. No weapons, no threats, just me and a clear wall between us. You'll be dead in 10 seconds, Vakal muttered. Then let me prove it, Jake said. If I'm wrong, we lose nothing. If I'm right, maybe we make history. 30 minutes later, Jake stood inside the observation dome. It was a sealed chamber with a transparent wall made of triple-layered neutron glass. It had held back meteors, plasma blasts, even vacuum ruptures, but no one knew if it could hold. A Zarnak Mara watched from the control room, her hands tight behind her back. Theo stood beside her, sweating. Jake's voice came through the speaker, calm and steady. I see it. It's sitting there, just like yesterday. Outside the dome, the Zarnak opened its eyes. It looked at him. Then slowly, it stood. Mara held her breath. Is it charging? No, Jake said. It's just walking over. The creature stepped softly. Its massive paws made no sound. Its eyes never left Jake. It reached the wall and stopped. One breath away. It's taller than I thought, Jake whispered. But it's not growling, not snarling, it just looks curious. He slowly raised a gloved hand and pressed it to the wall. The Zarnak tilted its head. Then, just like before, it lifted one paw and gently pressed it on the other side of the glass. Matching him, Vakal hissed behind them. It is testing your trust. But Mara shook her head. No. Look at its eyes. There's no hate. Jake smiled a little. Captain, it's wagging its tail again. The Zarnak moved its head lower and pressed its nose to the glass. A soft cloud of breath fogged the surface. It blinked once. Then again. It's mimicking calm behavior, Theo said. It's not showing any stress signs. No rapid movement, no aggression. Mara leaned in. Jake, speak to it. Jake took a slow breath, then softly said, Hey there. You remember me? The Zarnak didn't answer, of course, but it did sit down again. Quiet. Still. It's listening, Jake said. Maybe not to the words, but the tone. He sat down too, crossing his legs on the floor of the dome. The creature followed, lying down on its side like it felt safe. Or maybe it was showing he was safe. I don't think you're a killer, Jake said quietly. I think you're tired. Everyone's been scared of you, chasing you, shooting at you, locking you in boxes. Mara's heart ached. Somehow the scene looked familiar. A giant creature of terror, sitting silently like it just wanted company. Jake continued. If you wanted to break this wall, you would have already. But you didn't. You're waiting, not to hurt us, but to be seen. The Zarnak blinked again. Then it stretched one leg and curled its body closer to the glass. Its breath fogged the dome wall gently. Mara whispered, It's showing submission, like a domesticated animal. Theo nodded. Or respect. Jake chuckled. Maybe it thinks I look like a big puppy. Later that day, the galaxy watched the footage. It went viral across the Accord's news networks. The Zarnak, the beast that had terrified planets, lay calmly before a single human. It didn't roar. It didn't strike. It just listened and sat. Like it had waited all its life for someone to stop seeing it as a monster. The next morning, Jake returned to the dome. This time, he wasn't alone. A small team of scientists stood behind the reinforced window, quietly observing. The dome had been upgraded, extra scanners, backup shields, and emergency exits ready. But there was no panic because something had changed. The galaxy had seen it with their own eyes. The creature, the Zarnak, had behaved like a pet. A predator? Yes. But also peaceful. With Jake, it was calm. With Jake, it was gentle. As the dome doors opened, Jake stepped in again, wearing the same protective suit. Not because he felt scared, but because it was protocol. The Zarnak was already waiting. It stood when it saw him, then slowly walked over, each step careful and quiet. Its huge eyes blinked once, then again, like it remembered him. Jake smiled and held up a hand. Morning. Big guy. The creature let out a sound, a low breath, almost like a sigh. It was not a growl. It was soft. It sat again, placing its paw near the glass. Jake crouched. You really do remind me of a dog. A giant, weird, alien dog. But a good one. The scientists behind the wall were silent, recording everything. Behavior like this had never been seen before. This was the creature that wiped out armies. But now it sat like a calm, waiting animal. Not a threat. A companion. Should I try talking to it again? Jake asked softly. Go ahead, Theo said through the comms. Let's see what happens. Jake sat down on the floor. He didn't rush. He kept his movements slow and soft. I'm not sure you understand my words, he said to the Zarnak. But maybe you understand tone. Maybe you understand kindness. The Zarnak tilted its head. Its ears, if they were ears, twitched slightly. I don't think you wanted to hurt all those people, Jake said. I think you were scared, confused. Maybe they attacked first. Maybe you never wanted to be a monster. The Zarnak lowered its body slowly, resting its head on the ground. Its eyes stayed open, focused on Jake. You were alone, weren't you? Jake whispered. Silence. Then, the creature made a sound, a low, short whine. Everyone in the control room froze. Mara's voice broke the silence. Did it just respond? Yes, Theo said, his voice shaking. It's reacting emotionally. That was not a threat sound, that was connection. Jake leaned a little closer. He didn't touch the glass, but he placed both hands near it. It's okay, he said. You're not alone now. The Zarnak inched forward, pressing the tip of its nose to the barrier again. Behind the glass, Mara watched with wide eyes. It's not just reacting, she said slowly. It's choosing to connect. Can we lower the barrier? Theo asked, almost in disbelief. Not yet, Mara said, but maybe soon. Later that evening, Jake sat in the observation room with Mara. Footage of the day's session was playing on the holo screen. I don't know how to explain it, he said. It's like, it doesn't just copy behavior. It learns meaning. It listens. It feels. You made it feel safe, Mara said quietly. No one else ever tried that. Jake nodded slowly. Maybe that was the problem all along. Everyone saw a monster. No one asked what it needed. Mara turned to him. Do you think it could be trusted? Outside the dome? I don't know. Yet, Jake said honestly. But I believe it doesn't want to be alone anymore. It never wanted to be feared. Outside the dome, the Zarnak lay curled up, watching them, peacefully. The next day, the team tried something new. A floating ball, made of soft light and filled with scent tracking code, was released inside the dome. It bounced gently, designed to trigger play behavior. The Zarnak sniffed. It then gently nudged it, then swatted it once with its paw. The ball rolled, and the Zarnak chased it. It didn't growl. It didn't destroy. It played. Mara was speechless. It's showing joy, Theo whispered. Real joy. Jake watched from the glass with tears in his eyes. This creature was never a monster, he said. It was a prisoner. The Zarnak brought the ball back to the center of the dome and placed it near the window, right in front of Jake, like it wanted to share. Word spread fast. Ships from different systems requested permission to visit. Scientists begged to study it. Children from across the stars asked to see the giant space puppy. But Mara made a choice. It's not a test subject, she told the Accord. It's a person, not like us, but not less. The Zarnak was no longer the galaxy's deadliest predator. It had become something else. A mystery. A friend. A heart waiting to be understood. It was the day the doors opened. No more thick glass, no more walls between them. The entire ship held its breath as the final barrier slid away. Jake stood at the entrance of the dome, wearing nothing but a light suit. No armor, no shield. Just trust. And the Zarnak stood waiting, still and calm, its great head tilted slightly. It saw Jake. It saw that the wall was gone. And it didn't charge. It didn't roar. Instead, it slowly walked forward, like a creature afraid he might run. Jake took one step forward and another. Then he stopped just a few feet away from the creature. The Zarnak lowered itself gently. Its glowing eyes locked onto his, and then it did something no one expected. It bowed its head. Not like a beast, but like a being saying, I trust you too. Jake stepped closer. His hand reached out, slowly, and for the first time in history, a human hand touched the skin of the galaxy's most feared predator. The Zarnak didn't flinch. It leaned in. It pressed its large head against Jake's chest, like a lonely giant finding warmth. And the entire control room watching the live feed broke into quiet sobs. Even Vakal, who had once sworn this creature was a killer, could not speak. Theo whispered, It's hugging him. Mara couldn't move. She just stared, her heart thudding. It didn't want to be a monster. It wanted to be loved. They named it Kara. The name came from an old Earth word meaning beloved one. Jake thought it was perfect. Kara followed Jake, everywhere now. It never growled at the crew. It never showed anger. It stayed close, calm, and alert. It helped lift crates with its tail. It sat quietly during ship meetings. It even learned the difference between friendly touch and emergency alarms. Kara had a brain adapted for war, yes, but a heart waiting for peace. Jake often sat beside Kara reading out loud. Sometimes old stories, sometimes jokes. Kara never spoke, of course, but it listened. It leaned against him. It made soft purring sounds. It had found its human. And Jake had found something too. He had found proof that even the most dangerous beings could want nothing more than connection. Soon, the galaxy changed its tune. The same people who once feared Kara now studied it with awe. The same news channels that called it the Planet Slayer now called it the Gentle Guardian. Ambassadors came from dozens of planets. They all wanted to see the space beast who became a friend. One little girl from the moon of Selith reached out her small hand when she saw Kara. The whole room froze. Kara looked at her, then leaned down and licked her face softly. The room erupted in happy tears. Months passed. Kara stayed on the ship with Jake and the crew. It became their protector, not through violence but presence. No pirate ship dared attack them, no dark market tried to steal tech from their cargo, because they knew. That ship? That's the one with the Zarnak. But the stories were different now. They didn't say killer, they said guardian. One night Jake sat alone in the dome with Kara watching the stars. "It's funny," he said. "They thought you were the end of peace." Kara blinked slowly. Jake smiled. "But really, you were the beginning." Kara rested its head in his lap. Jake rubbed behind its ears. "You were just lonely, weren't you? Just like me." Silence filled the room. But it was a warm silence. The silence of two lost beings who had finally been found. They called it a beast, a monster, a weapon of war. But in the end, the galaxy's deadliest predator didn't ask for blood. It asked for a hand, a voice, a place. And the only one who saw past its claws and teeth was a human who simply said, "Looks like a big puppy to me." "Quan, why do you think Kara never attacked Jake or the crew?"